So now I'm going to show you how to publish your designs to WorksManager from Trimble Business Center. The first thing you want to make sure you do is log in on the start page when you open up Business Center. You want to log in and create a TID if you don't have one. So when you click on the login button here, you'll see that a window will pop up and you'll be able to log in using your Trimble ID credentials. You can see that I'm already logged in, so I'm going to go and open up my project. And this project is the data prep project we're working in here, which is basically the surface with some line work and my control points. I also have my calibration, so this will only work if you have a calibration. So either it's a grid coordinate calibration, such as a state plane system, or you brought the calibration in that your field crews have completed out in the field. You just can't use the one that says default. And I'll explain more on that as I get into WorksManager here. The next step is to create the WorksManager project. So I'm going to click on the WorksManager icon here, and that's going to launch WorksManager. So I'll bring that down and we'll take a look at it here. When it opens up WorksManager, it's going to automatically log you in because it's using the credentials from your TID. And you've got your projects in your account. I'm going to click on the Create Project button. And from here, I'm going to select my account. Now, most people would have just one or two accounts. I'm going to use this Trimble WorksManager account that I have. You can see I have an extensive list of accounts, but most people only have one. So you'll select your account, which should be, if you have one, it'll be defaulted. You're then going to create a project name. So I'm going to call this 2020 Data Prep WorksManager Pub. Okay. We'll go next. Now here, if you had the calibration, so if your field crew had already gone out and done the calibration, if you have the control points already, you can add them here, but I'm going to publish them all from Business Center. So I'm going to skip this step. Now it's going to ask me to create my project boundary. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to find my project by typing in the street address and the city. It's going to zoom me into that particular project location. I'll be able to zoom on a little bit here and get over to where my project is located. And then I'm going to click on Draw Boundary. So I'm going to come in and I'm just going to start drawing a boundary around my project location. Now, you can make it a little bit larger than the project. So if your crews are, parked over here, or this is another area we need to build out, we can go ahead and do that. So once you select your last point, you can click on OK and then click Finish. And that's going to define your WorksManager project. So now we can go back to Business Center and we can connect our Business Center project to our WorksManager project. So we'll do that with the next icon here, which is WorksManager project. It's going to create the field over here in our Project Explorer. It's going to let us go and select our account. So I'll go down and pick that same Trimble WorksManager account. And then it's going to let me select my project. So from my project list, I'm going to select the project that we created. And I'm going to click OK. And now what that does is that connects my Business Center project to my WorksManager project. Now in this particular case, we do have to resolve these items over here. So the first one would be the project boundary. We'll go ahead and resolve that. We drew the project boundary in WorksManager, so we're going to import that into Business Center. So I'm going to go ahead and adopt that. Now we can modify the boundary in Business Center and then publish it back to WorksManager. So if we wanted to, we could change this shape and make it larger or smaller. The next thing we want to do is to resolve the calibration. So I'm going to click on Resolve, and in this particular case, I'm going to publish the calibration that I have in my Business Center project to WorksManager. If in the process of creating my WorksManager project, I uploaded the calibration at that particular time, then I would adopt that calibration from WorksManager and calibrate my Trimble Business Center project. This way, I'm actually going to publish it out, so we'll go ahead and do that. It'll take a second for that to happen, and then we can resolve our units. So again, we're going to send out the US survey feet. We're going to send it to Trimble Business Center, or publish it from Business Center to WorksManager. Then we're going to do our control points. So I'm going to click on the plus minus first so that I can select my control points. I'm going to use the by layer option, and I'm going to just pick from my screen the points, and that's going to select that points layer. I'm going to click close. We'll click add and click OK. And then we'll resolve the control points. So now I'm going to send them to WorksManager as well. And once you set this project information up, it's only the initial setup. Now, once I complete this, I'll be able to publish and create multiple designs and publish them to this particular project. The last thing that we'll resolve is the avoidance zones. So even if we don't have an avoidance zone, I'm going to click on resolve anyways. I'll publish it to WorksManager. And it's going to create a DXF file, basically in this case, a blank one. And therefore, it's just really cleaning up our Business Center project. But because we don't have any avoidance zones, the field crews will get notified that, they're responsible for respecting the avoidance zones. They'll get that notification. But in this particular case, I didn't really create one. Now you can see that I've got a cleaned up project and design. Like I said, you don't have to worry about the avoidance zone if you don't want to. So I'm going to close that. Now I'm ready to create my design. So the next one will be to create the WorksManager design, where I can select my surfaces and my line work and my other information. So with this particular case, I'm going to just call this finished grading. We'll click OK. And that's going to create our design, and then we can select our data. So the first thing we will do is pick the model. In this particular case, we're going to use surface. If we had multiple surfaces that you want to send out, then you would use user defined. So if you have more than one surface, you can use user defined, and I can just select all the objects here in one shot. I'm going to use the surface option, pick the surface that I have, which is just the finished ground. I'm going to click OK. If I had stakeout points, I could select those, and I can also select the design map. So the design map is going to be the line work that I want. So again, I'm going to just click in my window to deselect my points, and then I'm going to click on options, layer, and now I'm just going to come in and start picking the layers that I want. Now you can do a window selection. You can pick them manually like this. Totally up to you. So however you pick them, you can do that. I like picking them by layer because that way I don't pick up any extra stuff. Now if I'm using my view filters, that will simplify that process as well. So a little bit other ways that you can do this, but I only have a few objects here, so it's pretty simple just to select them. I'm going to click close. I'm going to click add. I'm going to click OK. And then I'm going to click publish. And this will take a few seconds, but it's going to collect the data and it's going to publish it out to WorksManager. Once this happens, my field crews can then synchronize, and they will get all the data from WorksManager down to their controllers. Keep in mind that WorksManager is the source of truth. So if I was to come in here and modify or change any of this data, it's not automatically going to synchronize to WorksManager and then 2 down to the field. So here I'm getting that message that says the design was published. So now if we go and take a look at WorksManager and we look at our project and we go into the settings, you'll see that the settings now contain the files that I published. So there's my DC file, there's my control points, and the avoidance zone DXF. You can download all these if you want to take a look at them, but keep in mind, this is the source of truth. This is what your field crews are going to pull from. So even if I was to go back in the Business Center and let's say change my calibration or change any of the data, you would still have to publish it out to WorksManager. So again, the field crew is not going to get what you change in Business Center unless you actually go up here and change this file and this information. If we take a look at the designs, you'll see that I've got one design that's here, and this design is the VCL file, and it's got a version. So if I go back to Business Center, I make any edits or changes, and I republish using that same design, it's going to keep that naming convention, and it's going to version this to version 2. So it's going to be able to track that.